Hi and welcome. Today I'm talking to Bellefield Butter Company, Jan and Steve, the owners of Bellefield Butter Company, and this is a really interesting story. Jan and Steve are based in Cambridge, in New Zealand, and they make, I guess, I don't like to use the term artisan because it's used so often, but for people who like fine food, these guys do the trick with their butter. It is used by top chefs, top restaurants, and it has won numerous cuisine awards, been in Cuisine magazine, more awards than I can sort of rattle off here. But it has been, it has been recognised as being a fantastic product, and I'm not sure there's been a type of butter before in New Zealand that has had that sort of recognition. So we're going to talk a little bit about this small little company with Jan and Steve, and so welcome, guys. How are you today?
Well, good, thank you. Yourself?
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. And okay, so let's start off, because I think the story of how you got going and some of the trials and tribulations you've had is pretty interesting. But just give us an idea of how you started. I know that you're migrants to New Zealand. You're not originally from New Zealand, but you've been here for a fair while now, haven't you, in Cambridge?
Yep. Yeah,
and
so with a funny accent.
Yes, yeah. And so so give us a little bit of an insight into just how you got going originally.
Yeah, in 2016, I had a horse riding accident, which I suffered a bad concussion. It it seems I broke my back at the time, but we didn't know. Also uncovered the fact that I had a brain tumour, and which we didn't know about, but that's fine. I'm okay with that, just gets monitored. So I was off work for a while and started playing with the idea of having a business. And Steve, he's on for our football team. There was a guy in the UK making flavoured butters. And we thought personally we would like to try them, and looked around, and at that time there was nobody making them. So we looked and started doing research. We learned that not all butters were created equally, and that's where the research started happening. Towards the end of 2016, as we were toying with the idea of the business, I was made redundant, which we kind of suspected might have happened for one reason or another. What we didn't expect was that same week, Steve was made redundant from a completely different company, different area and that. So that was kind of a push for us to jump in and start the business. We had nothing really, it was just a big sign, go for it.
Isn't that funny how sometimes adversity does that, doesn't it? You know, that if you hadn't had that adversity, you may not have ever started. So
exactly.
Yeah. So what happened? Obviously something happened in between you starting winning all these awards. So there must be something around, you must have discovered something in the process, or took a sort of point of view of where you were going to take your product.
So as part of our research, as I said, we found out that all butter isn't created equally. So the main butter that's readily available is what's known as the sweet cream butter. So they take pasteurised cream, churn it straight away. We heard about the difference of a cultured butter, which is more of a traditional butter, where it's fermented, the bacteria eats the lactose in the cream and produces a different flavour, more flavour notes to it. So that was the path we decided, because we thought if we want to do something, we want to do it good. And we're in dairy country, we've got such a fantastic produce here, let's make the best it can be. So that's why we went down the cultured butter route. We went through lots of research and development on the kitchen bench. But then after that, it was then serious, and we had to do our paperwork, our government paperwork, which was a bit of a mission. That wasn't very extensive because we hadn't been in the food industry. We were learning completely new, although we had some people support us, which we're grateful for. So we did that. We got a shipping container kitted out to meet the MPI standards in our garden, and about over 12 months since the idea, about 16 months since the idea, we started in actual production once obviously we'd been given the tick by the government in our shipping container, which we stayed for 3 years. We stayed for 3 years. But in that time, we as you said, we've entered many a competition, and I think we've won 19 awards in 3 years.
Can you rattle off what some of those awards are?
Well, we were 2 years ago, we were runner-up artisan of the year for Cuisine magazines with our miso butter.
That was part of the New Zealand Food Awards.
Which was part of the New Zealand Food Awards. We've also become a finalist this year, which we don't find out whether we're the artisan of the year till November now. We've won, I think it's 3 or 4 gold medals with the Outstanding Food Producers Awards. We've also won awards at the Cheese Awards, and even an award at the Farmers Market in the early days.
That was the first one, I think, was it?
It was. Yeah.
So you've also had, I've read the articles that were in Cuisine magazine, and I know that, generally it's interesting the people that use your product, because you have top restaurants. I mean, the higher quality restaurants. You have the sort of the whole food outlets. I'm not too sure what you'd call those things. Like it's Farrows, isn't it? Places like that. You know, where you get all that really high quality type of merchandise, and anybody that's doing that sort of stuff should obviously be stocking this type of product, but then you also just there's also just mums and dads who use it as well, and I've used it obviously personally, which is why we're having this conversation, and you know, it is amazing to cook with, and it's got amazing flavours, and there's such a variety. Can you just list off the butters that you actually have before we start talking about some of your other products?
Yeah. Obviously we do a sea salt. We also do the miso, which was the runner-up in the Cuisine Awards. We do a Karengo seaweed, which is a silver medalist this year. We do chili and lime. We do black garlic, which was a gold medal last year. And what else do we do? We do Hooters smoked.
Kiwi on a theme.
And, we do.
I love that chili and lime.
Yes.
Is it a popular one? I love that butter. That's really nice.
It was. At the moment, since we've gone mostly online, it's been the black garlic. Black garlic is certainly very popular at the moment. Whereas when we first started it, nobody knew what black garlic was or tasted. So it's good to see, even in just like the 18 months black garlic's been there, that people are now more knowing what it's about and trying it. But
and that's great, because as well as actually being able to access your product at selected, and I'll say selected whole food outlets, you can also buy online, can't you? You can buy online, and you don't just do butter, because you've had a few other products that have won awards as well. Do you want to just talk a little bit about those?
We got asked quite a bit as we were even just researching. A lot of Kiwis, more than us Poms, funny enough, were asking us to do, why don't you do clotted cream? We don't have a good clotted cream in this country, and we loved it when we did our OE or we did our travels. And funny enough, another horse accident, the horse stood up on my foot, and we ended up in A&E, and the nurse said the same to us there. And I said, you could get nasty. She said, maybe you should do it. So we then researched into that. That took a time to do it. So we do a traditional clotted cream, and we've been told by so many people that it is the real deal. It takes them back to those times. We also do a creme fraiche, which again, we make traditional. That's what we're all about, is the tradition, keeping the tradition going. So creme fraiche is traditionally made only using cream and lactic cultures. And the cultures are the thing that thickens it. Most of the creme fraiche that's available here has got thickeners, gelatin into it as well, which can affect its cooking properties. So, excuse me, we've made our creme fraiche like that traditionally. Ghee. We've gone on to do some ghee as well, and again, we've won awards for the ghee. We do 3 flavours in that. And that's gaining popularity literally only in the last couple of weeks. People are really interested in that. And also as a sideline to butter, we've always produced traditional buttermilk, which is made traditionally, not like a skim milk soured. It is made part of the butter making process.
I think it's really important so people understand this is really handcrafted, isn't it? It's not a big factory. Everything is really handcrafted. And although I know that you're not operating in a shipping crate anymore, it's not a big factory. There's just the 2 of you that are making these products, but it is part of the secret to probably why you've been so successful with the awards and the types of people who are using your product. So and it is what I really like about this whole story is all the little stories that have made it happen, starting from being made redundant right at the beginning. So let's talk a little bit about how people can find you. So let's say I'm a restaurant owner. I believe I've got a really fancy restaurant, and I want to use the best possible produce for that restaurant. How do I get some of this butter? Who do I contact? Where do I find you?
Well, it's on the website. That's probably the best.
Or the email.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll put those details at the end of this video. Okay. I'll get those details off you, and I'll make sure that so we'll put your website up, and people can, and that's the same with people obviously because you get a lot of orders online as well, don't you, from just normal mums and dads, and so that will be they can just order that online. So look, I think you've got a fantastic product, and I can say that from experiencing it myself. And I think there's a huge future for you guys as more and more people discover what a lot of experts already know. I mean, you've almost got more awards than the size of your business in some ways. Your business is still a relatively small business, but you've won all these fantastic awards. So I look forward to seeing, some of that expertise really rewarded with the growth of your business over the next few years. So look, it's been really great talking to you, Steve and Jan, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
Okay, see ya.
Cheers. Bye-bye.